All right, hey guys, Jason here. We're up here. We're actually right down the road from my house, little park that's right here that we take the kids up to play at and stuff like that with our grandson. But we're going to talk today about the pros and cons of the Colorado. Okay, yes, the Colorado. We're going to cover the Colorado, and we have one. I own one. So what's nice about that is we're going to get more detailed in this one. Unlike a lot of these that I do, like when I do the Tundra and the Silverados and the stuff like that, which are great trucks. Remember, I drive them, but I drive them very limitedly. Okay, I don't own one. So I'm driving those things short term while I'm checking them out and learning about them and things like that. But something like this, something like the Gladiator, something like my Ram 2500, something like the third gen Tacoma, something that I own, a version of, I can get way more detailed just because all the little things kind of jump out at you. So this one will be a very detailed pro and con because of the fact that, like I said, I live with it all the time. We've got 17,000 miles on this thing already. 17,000 miles on it, and we've had it for, well, we bought it in November. I think it was November. So we haven't had it that long. What is that, 10 months? You know, that we've had it, so 9 months, so something like that to think about. But anyway, we're going to go through it. I have my list. Where is it? I got it here. I actually wrote it down. I always do these better when I write them down. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. We got it. All right, so first one, 4 Colorados. Now, this is a ZR2. This is a high-end Colorado because of that, and that's one thing. But the beauty of one of the pros for the Colorado is that they offer a trim level for everybody, even from the WT, the work truck, which is an amazing truck in itself, to the Trail Boss, to the LT, to the what am I thinking of? From the LT, you got the ZR2, you have the Bison edition, you got all these different levels. Plus, don't forget, GMC makes the Canyon, which is a twin of this. So everything from the Elevation all the way up to the Denali is even the AEV edition for the Canyon. They are all AT4X AEV edition. You get a bunch of trim levels when you combine them. So many different options for the Colorado. Yet, as another pro, they all have the same exact motor. Yes, just amazing 2.7 liter engine it is in this. Is 2.7 liter turbo 4-cylinder engine in this that, like I said, I'm almost at 17,000 miles. I think I'm 100 miles short of 17,000 miles on it right now. So for all practical purposes, according to everybody on the internet, I have about 3,000 miles left until this thing blows up in grenades. So we'll see what happens at 3,000 miles. But realistically, this motor has been out in that Silverado for, 6 years now, 7 years, and it has proven so amazing. And in the Colorado, it has proven so amazing. We will cover more on that. But what's nice is starting in 2024, when this came out in 2023, there were 3 different versions of this engine, different tunes on this engine. Now, it's starting in 2024, 2025, 2026, every single one from the work truck all the way through gets this exact same motor in it. And it is a killer motor. It is a beast of a motor. There is no doubt about it one bit. 310 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque. Technically, this little 4-cylinder has 1 pound-feet of torque more than my big Power Wagon 6.4 liter Hemi V8 does. Let that sink in. That's pretty serious information right there. Now, another nice advantage to this, a pro, is the shocks that are on a ZR2. Okay, now not only do we have the amazing Multimatic DSSV dampers right there. See where they are positioned? Look at, they are right on this side of the frame, tight to the wheel. That is huge. It is the only version of the Colorado that does this. Every other one has them inboard, but look at where these shocks are. Look at how close they are to that wheel and unobtrusive that is underneath there. That is so nice. Where the Trail Boss and all the other ones, they don't do that. They don't put them that far out. They're in closer to the pumpkin in the middle there, which does work. It's not a bad thing, but at least on the ZR2, they give you this. If I had to call it a con, I would say that Chevy should, since they already have this bracketry here and they already have this set up to do it, why don't they do it for all of them? Why does the Trail Boss especially not have the suspension there? Even if it's not the Multimatics, why are the shocks not in that position? So that is kind of a con, but they work all right. They're not complaining. Again, most trucks put them outboard, or inboard, I should say, on the other side of the frame rail, on the other side of the leaf spring, in closer to the pumpkin. That's where most trucks put them. It's really nice when they stick them out here like they're supposed to, though. That's where they should be, not only for ride quality, but for clearances as well, too. So that's something to think about. Now, a negative, a con. A con to this is that we are still getting LED lights on the Trail Boss models and the work truck models. Now, or we're not getting LED. See, this has got true LEDs in there, But when we get into those other versions, the lower trim ones, you're not getting them. Now you can replace them, the halogens, you can replace it with a bulb that is a LED bulb, and that works, and it's a good thing to do. But I think LED headlights should be mandatory on every single truck made today for the sake of safety. That is a big safety factor. Another con are these worthless little these worthless little fog lights. I'm sorry, but they're pretty disappointing. You know, if you're gonna give us a fog light, give us a fog light. That's kind of an afterthought and not that impressive. I'm not sold on the fog lights. Not to mention another con, which I'll show you on the inside, is how to access the fog lights is kind of upsetting. So, but as far as another pro on here, the bed depth. Man, this thing has got a nice deep sided bed. I like the way they do the bed in this thing. It is a fantastic setup. Damped, obviously, all that stuff, but look at how deep that is. They give you a lot of height in here. It is massive in height. That is a gold mine thing. A con. The Silverado is very, very forgiving with their bed lights. Colorado, for some reason, is not. I have my own mounted right there. You can see that little clamp light we use, and it works excellent. Okay, it's fantastic. But it's magnetic and clamps and stuff. It works great, but they do not give you bed lights in the Colorado very often. Somebody's going to chime in, you can get them. I got them in mine. Well, good for you. I'm glad you got them in yours, and that's a very good thing, and I am excited for you. But overall, generally speaking, when I spend all this time on the lots, 90% of the Colorados of every trim level, this is a ZR2, fully loaded. This is about as high as you can possibly get this truck. And we do not have bed lights in there. That is very upsetting. Well, you can add them. They're already pre-wired. You can just mount them in there for $300. I don't want to pay $300 and mount them and have to do all that stuff. They should have been here already. Okay, again, let's look at the sticker price, a $57,000 truck. I didn't pay that much, obviously, or $54,000, I think it was. But we were in the 40s that we bought it for, but still the point. That's a con. Give us the bed lights. Everybody gives us bed lights today, but they do not here. We do, however, have power, which is nice right there, and they give you power. They give that out like water. We have tie downs, high and low. And in the front, high and low tie downs. That is a good thing. So that is a huge pro. A pro and a con, and then a big pro, this Stow Flex tailgate. This thing right here. God, the stuff you can fit in here is just insane. When you look, I mean, this thing is worth its weight in gold. This thing is just amazing with how much storage and room you have inside of this thing. I straight up love it. You do got to use two hands to close it, and I only got one working right now. Actually, I got a half a hand. Let me see if I can do this with my elbow. If not, no, hang on. I'm going to set you down for a minute. Hold on. We'll pause you. Okay, so we got that closed. But the Stow Flex tailgate, love it. On the all other Colorados, other than the ZR2, you get a bumper step right here. Bumper step goes right here. On this, for some stupid reason, they chose to put this cover on there and not give you a bumper step on a ZR2. Makes no sense whatsoever. ZR2 should have it. So it is a con for the ZR2, a pro and a positive for every other version of the Colorado and the Canyon that does get that bent bumper step, and it would be perfect and it would be very nice to have that bumper step in there. This is not a low load height truck. Okay, this is not very low. This is still pretty high up there. So it's something that needs to be considered. And that is definitely a bummer that we do not get that step in there. But otherwise, I love the bed configuration. I love the entire setup back here. I don't have one complaint on the bed setup of this truck on any kind of way, thought, or concern one bit on anything. They do it very well. The hitch is set up perfect. Like I said, they do it very good. The looks of this truck win hands down. It is a very aggressive, chiseled looking truck, and it looks tough. In my opinion, it is one of the best proportionate trucks made today. I love the fact that the wheel wells are not your typical Chevy square wheel well. You can see we got the room, even the backs. Look at how they angle out, giving you plenty of room to put bigger tires, but they do this truck right. And look at the body lines, all the chisels everywhere in here, all the sculpting, the chiseling, the cuts, the way this thing just looks super, super tough. There's no doubt about it. It is just one super good looking truck on every kind of level. So I got zero complaints on any of that setup on there. Like I said, looks are phenomenal. This hood scoop that is in here on the ZR2 model, this fake hood here, I do wish it wasn't there. It looks really good on the outside. And it's actually not too horribly intrusive on the Colorado, but on the Silverados and things like that, that just takes away from your view quite a bit. And it does on here too. Okay, it takes away, and that's what I'm looking at right there all the time when I'm driving. It would be nice to have got rid of that, just to not have that on there. So that is something there. Speaking of wiper blades as a con, but again, keep in mind, I live in South Georgia. The heat and everything here is brutal hard, but these wipers, they're done. They're done. I already have, matter of fact, we ordered them. They'll probably be here tomorrow, but I ordered some Bosch Evolution wiper blades for this because these ones, they're just no good no more. They don't work. And it's, like I said, not even a year old. But again, I am in South Georgia. I go through wiper blades like crazy here. So something to think about there too on that. The tie downs, like I said, we covered that. I'm looking here, and as far as another complaint on it with the ZR2, the shovel gap in the front. Okay, this is what I call it, the shovel gap. That big front hook right here that is going to shovel all of your mud and everything directly into your intercooler that's right there. That's a powered louvered intercooler right there for the turbo. And look at how this is designed to just, you got to have airflow coming in, obviously, but look at how that is going to just shove and suck up every bit of mud and stuff right into that. That's kind of annoying, kind of upsetting there. Bugs me a little bit, but I do love the big tow hooks that we get on there, and they do a good job there. I'm not a fan of it being all plastic, but there's no bumpers anymore. I wish there was, but that's not just this, that's every mid-size truck. So understand that. I do love the Viper cuts here. How this is cut out for better wheel front approach angle so that you can use that to get up and over logs. You can turn that wheel this way and then roll up over logs and not worry about hitting nothing, and by the time your tire gets up, the rest is up. So they do that very good. Those are very important features on there. So we like how they have that. It does come with, the ZR2 does come with the rock rails. We took them off there in my shed so I can sell them with this vehicle when it's time, but we put this Oerdo steps on it the day we bought it, and they are holding up phenomenal. These steps have been incredible, and believe it or not, we get so many compliments on it. Man, how did you get those steps for your ZR2? I got a ZR2 and we can't get up and down into it very easy. And like I said, those steps work fantastic. Made by Oerdo, or Odero, or however you say it. I just showed it to you, but they have been phenomenal. They have been absolutely phenomenal on here. So no complaints there. Now we'll get inside and take a look at them. But before I do, I want to cover a couple more things out here. Capability-wise, love the capability of it. Now, so far, again, I have not done any serious hard off-roading and not played in a lot of mud, but we have been through the WMAs with this thing a few times. I've used it in 4-low. I've had it locked up front and rears. We've done some stuff with this, and it's worked perfectly. Nothing extreme. This is my wife's truck. Okay, and for those of you that are going to argue with that and say, why don't you take it out and test it for the channel? Because it's not my truck. It is my wife's truck, and she doesn't want it beat up. She doesn't want it covered in mud, and she doesn't want me dealing with that stuff, and it is her truck. So, no, I'm not. There's plenty of people out there that'll do a hardcore off-road review of a ZR2 for you. I'm not doing it. This is hers. So, but it is a very capable machine. There is no doubt about it. The tires are not horrible. Like I said, I'm only at 17,000 miles on them. I'm going to say they're probably getting close to half on there. I'm going to guess we're probably going to get 35, maybe 40,000 miles on them. And that's not horrible, but I would expect better. When these are done, Falcon Wild Peak AT4s will be on this immediately. As soon as those tires get down to a point where I don't like them and I'm not comfortable, which will be way before they're done. Okay, people are like, run them all the way down. No, I'm not running them all the way down. But when they get down to about 30% of tread life left, they're gone. And I will be putting Falcon Wild Peak AT4s on this thing. Will be 100% for sure happening. So check in here. 4Auto. I got to mention the 4Auto part, okay? 4Auto, Colorado and a Canyon give you 4Auto in every single Colorado and Canyon trim you get this four-wheel drive. Every one of them has 4Auto. That is a beautiful thing. No other company does that. No other brand will give you 4Auto in every single trim level, and including work trucks and bottom of the barrel trim trucks, that kind of thing. Nobody gives it to you. That is incredible. The Trail Boss trim, this is a 3-inch factory lift on this one being a ZR2. The Trail Boss gives you a 2-inch lift. All of the Canyon versions that you get a 2-inch lift. That is amazing. So technically, if you look at the Canyon elevation, you get a 2-inch lift from the factory on the lowest trim level that they offer. On this, the Trail Boss is technically a work truck in a Trail Boss package and some extra goodies there, but you get to lift even on the Trail Boss, which is one of their most affordable pickup trucks. They give you that lift in there and that capability, so we love it. G80 locker standard on these things too, unless you get the ZR2 where you get front and rear lockers. It is one of 3 Hey, buddy. Hold on. Let me pause this. Hold on. We got a buddy over here checking the truck out. Little local dog checking things out. But the capability of the front and rear lockers is on the ZR2. And we love that feature that they give us that. There's only 3 trucks. There's the Colorado ZR2, which also includes the Canyon AT4 or AT4X, and the AEV edition and Bison edition. They're all the same, but you get this truck. And then on top of that, you're going to get the option of the Gladiator Rubicon, and you are going to get the Ranger Raptor. Those are technically it. And window sticker wise of trucks that are capable with a front and rear locker, this is going to be it. Hello. Yeah, hello. You just checking everything out? Yeah, there you go. Okay. So like I said, it's nice that you get that option with the lockers. Oh, no, you're on your own now. But you get your lockers and you get everything in there. So we love the features and the capability of this truck. Now, size is another one in the pro category. Now, people complain. I love it when I hear people complain about how they can't get any room inside of this thing. Well, I know. Hold on. Let me pause this for a sec. Now that size, the size thing, okay, it cracks me up when I'm online. Colorado's too small for me. I'm 6 foot tall. Can't use it because I'm 6 foot tall. I'm 6 foot. I'm a big guy. Can't use it. You know, my son-in-law, okay, Bella's husband, Dylan. He is 6'3.5". He is almost 6'4". He drives this truck all the time, and he doesn't have one complaint about it whatsoever. Not only does he drive it, when we were just in Tennessee, me and Tina took this, and then they took Bella's car. So it was her, you know, Dylan and Ronan in their car and this, and we actually met them in Tennessee, and we were there. Well, we went and spent a whole entire day, like 9 hours up in the mountains up there in this truck. Do you know what we had in this truck? We had me driving, my wife Tina sitting there. We had Ronan's car seat for a 2-year-old in a car seat in that passenger side. Bella sitting in the middle in the back, and Dylan, who again is basically 6'4", sitting behind me as I'm driving, and we had 0 complaints from him. And I kept asking him, Dylan, how you doing back there? Is that pretty jammed? No, not at all. I got plenty of room. Okay, in the back seat of this. This is in a Colorado. And it was also nominated, Colorado was nominated as the best midsize truck for car seats. So these people are like, oh, the back seat's so small. Back seat is not small. I don't even want to hear it. The back seat of this thing is amazing. Now, ours is filthy dirty. We just got back from that trip. But there is plenty of room in the back of this thing. Anybody tells you otherwise, like I said, they're just, you know, I don't know what they're thinking. There's plenty of room in the back seat comparatively. I love it. So no complaints there. Let's jump on the inside here so I can tell you a couple of things, like I said, that I notice as a con, again, because of the fact that I do own it, that I see on here. One of them, I told you about with the bed lights and then that kind of stuff. Now, another one inside of here, when we get into this, now we have had to take this will be 2 warranty deals on this. I'm actually going to close this up here, keep the bugs out. But this will be 2 warranty deals for this. One, we had to bring it in because this little tray right here, this little tray here actually popped off. Okay, it popped out of there. So we had to bring that in and get it fixed. That was done. I noticed this yesterday. We have an appointment to go in for that. Look at here, how this is separated. Right there, that is, this leather piece is pulled away from there, so we will get that fixed. But that is 2 times that this will go to the dealership. One was for that, which they were actually able to fix the first time we brought it in for it. They're like, oh, we can just pop that back in, and they did. This one here will probably need, they might need to replace this piece, but it looks like it's very simple and just going to snap right in and no big deal. So they're not going to have to take the dash apart. This is just going to ride right in here. That should be pretty easy to repair, but that there is my only issue that we've ever had with this truck. Now, a couple things that do bug me on here on the inside. Again, bonuses because of the fact that I own it. I see this stuff all the time. So if we look at it here, hang on, let this fire up. All right, so the climate control system, I don't like it. Okay, it gets on my nerves quite a bit, honestly. It's very, very annoying, the climate. I can never seem to dial it in right. Okay, you have this, you know, you got your heated and cooled seats. You got a lot of features, but I can just never get it comfortable. These vents down low are always, I just don't know what it is, but I struggle with the climate control in this vehicle, trying to stay comfortable in here. It is a struggle no matter what I do to try and stay comfortable in this truck. It's either too hot, too cold, nothing works right. As soon as you go to the auto mode, it automatically starts blowing through these vents and you cannot get it anywhere else. Look at this, okay? I mean, it's just, stop it. So I'm not a fan of the climate control system in here myself personally. I'm sure it works great, and it's just me, but I'm old school and I like simple things, and this one wants to do everything for you, and I'm not really, I just don't agree with it. It just doesn't work very well for me. So it gets kind of annoying on that factor there for me personally. So something to think about there. And now people complain about the lights for the driver. See, look, we're in this screen here. Let's go to home. Here's home. If I hit, oh, look, there's my headlights. If I go to here, oh, look, there's my headlights right here, okay? They're always right there. It doesn't matter what I'm in, okay? The headlights are always right there at the top. They're not in the infotainment center. They're not buried in the infotainment center. They're always right there at the top. This is actually easier than if they were down here. This button is just so simple and easy to use for that to be right there. It's just so perfect and simple. I love it. But I do not like the fact that when I put this on and I turn on my fog lights, okay, they will not stay on. When I turn this off, they're gone. Now, again, people are going to say, well, you can't use your fog lights unless it's foggy out. You got to know better. I'm in South Georgia. It's foggy every morning. Every morning is fog. We have humidity unbelievably. It's always foggy here. I want to use my fog lights. I can't have them where they're auto synced. I have to mess with it every single time, which does get to be kind of annoying. So it kind of gets to be a pain in the butt to deal with that. And then your fog lights are also your lights in here. You got to go through here. Go to home, go to, you got to go to controls, and then here it is, see fog lights right there, on, off, again, see, there, fights with you, it's kind of a, that kind of thing. Now, here's the other complaint. My traction control button is here under controls. So if I'm here and I'm driving and I'm jamming out to the radio here and I'm listening to the radio and I'm doing my thing and I get in the woods and I want to go hit my traction control, and every other vehicle I can touch a button. Like, why do I have this 4-way down window button? Why don't you put that in that screen? Nobody ever uses that anyway, but why not make that traction control where I can just bam, tap that for traction control? No, instead I have to go here. I have to go to home. I have to, if I'm over here, I got to scroll back this way and go to controls, and then I have to turn off my traction control there. Okay, that's annoying that I have to go through all that kind of stuff for the traction control. That definitely does upset me on there and kind of a pain in the butt. Also, while we're at it, look here. Okay, it's daytime, but look here. Let me pop you off here. Where's our hazard button? Anybody find a hazard button on there? It's somewhere on that row right here. Do you see a hazard button anywhere? No, because it's a red X right here that you cannot see. It's near impossible to even see, especially when you're up here looking down at all that black. That needs to be lit up better. I always struggle. And again, down here with the reins, you got to hit that often. The way I know where it is because now I know it's next to the auto start stop button. It's the next one over. I cannot find this button while I'm driving down the road under any circumstances. Now that I know where it sits, I know where it is, but that's horrible that is so buried in there and you just can't see what it is. Another thing that bothers me is the fact that this auto start stop button is buried in 3 buttons in. It should have been right here. Move these over. You hit that button all the time, or it should have been its own button like Nissan does, sitting right here. Bam, bam, done. That's how they should have did it. But no, they bury it in there. That definitely kind of upsets me and gets kind of annoying. But realistically, there's not a lot of complaints that you can have on this truck. It is a phenomenal truck. And like I said, the room, the space, I love everything about it. The view out of this thing is fantastic all the way around. I mean, they do such a good job with this truck. I don't have anything that I can complain about realistically in it. Piano black, yeah, I'd rather not have the piano black, but who cares? I don't care. It is what it is. Hard plastic dash. I don't care. I don't touch the dash. This is the highest level trim you can get. It's got a plastic dash. Who cares? You got this nice fancy trim piece. This nice fancy trim piece is one of the reasons I have to take it back. I'd have been just fine with this not being here and being all plastic. I don't care about fancy upgrades and fancy things and stuff like that. None of it matters to me. So, but this one here, we got the full sunroof. You know, we use it. Tina uses it quite a bit, but when we're not using it, we keep it shut because it gets hot in here. But we got the sunroof. You got all the features. Another complaint too. Do you see how they do this? See how we got 2 USB and USB-C? Yeah, we got all this dead space. How about giving us maybe 3 more USBs? maybe a 12 volt or a 120 volt here. Why is this all okay that's dead space right there? Would it really have cost you more than 6 nickels to put that in there and give us some more power here? But again, world we live in today. So there it is. The Bose system in this thing is amazing. The sound, there it is right there. Bose radio, but the sound system in here is phenomenal. I got 0 complaints on it. Last one. I got one more. I do have one more. And it's right here. The key fob. Okay, the key fob that is here. So, see how these buttons are all so flat? Everything about this is flat. Nothing is guarded. I don't know what it is about this key fob, but I carry 2 key fobs in one pocket. One for my RAM and one for this. The problem I have is every day, if I sit down on a couch, the alarm starts going off on this. If I sit down in a chair, it goes off. If I sit down to eat dinner, all of a sudden the truck starts up because I held down the auto start stop, or the auto start, and the truck fires up. I have to check it every single night to make sure, because I have this fob in my pocket, because sometimes, somehow, it will roll all 4 windows down. And you don't even know what happens. You just come outside, it's like, what the heck? All the windows are down in the truck. Somehow, while I was in the office, moving around between my key fobs, shifting in my pocket, this one gets buttons pushed. My RAM one, which is in the same pocket at every given moment, never once ever goes off, it changes, locks, unlocks, nothing. It is always this key fob. Every single time it is this key fob, and I get so mad at it. And with that stupid 4 window down feature on there, like I said, I make it a point every single, if it starts to sprinkle out, my wife laughs, but I automatically run to the window and look and make sure that somehow in my pocket my key fob didn't put all the 4 windows down, because it's done it 3 times to me. So there you go. That's kind of the reality of this truck. Straight up amazing truck. There's the pros and cons from me owning it. And owning it, like I said, about 17,000 miles. So questions, comments, put them below. Thanks for watching.